Hey, yo, say hello to the bad guy, Scott Hall, and I've got a scoop for you. And we all know there's a lot of podcasts out there, and I encourage you to check out this one. It's called Going In Raw. You heard it here first. Going In Raw.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Welcome back to Going In Raw News Brief.
Hi, everybody.
We're going to try to keep this one brief today, but maybe we'll, maybe we won't. I don't know. Larson, what's in the news?
What's in the news?
WWE got a guy fired. That's what's in the news.
Yeah, maybe. Well, honestly, yeah, maybe. So David Starr, noted indie wrestler, prominent United Kingdom scene in Europe.
Yeah.
We saw him here WrestleMania weekend a few years back.
Yeah, that's right. He
Um,
was in a match with, God, who was in that match?
That wasn't the Bobby Fish match. It
I
was.
thought it was the Bobby Fish match.
Was it with the tag match? Yeah, it was. It was Bob,
Yeah, I think it was
Bob
that one.
Fish, and,
Bob
and,
Fish.
and Michael Elgin
Yeah.
against David Starr. And I
It
remember
wasn't a
his
triple
partner.
threat?
Was it triple? Oh, yeah, it was supposed to be a tag match, and it got turned into a
Yeah,
triple threat, I think.
that's right.
For WCPW.
Yeah.
Anyway, so David Starr, he wrestled a title versus career match this weekend for WXW, which
That's
he then
Walter's
lost.
home promotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now Dave Meltzer is reporting on radio, quote, essentially, WWE made it such that WXW and Starr could not work together anymore. Meltzer also reported that Starr, once a Progress Wrestling regular, hasn't wrestled for that promotion in more than a month. And, of course, Progress has a pretty deep relationship with WWE.
Yeah, I don't know if we actually know which promotions signed those deals with WWE that allows WWE to close them if they
To
want
buy
them.
him out, buy him and close him.
Yeah, but we're pretty sure Progress is one of them. They've
Yeah.
had seemingly like the closest working
I
relationship.
mean, Jim Smallman seemingly left Progress to work for NXT.
yeah,
So.
yeah.
Meltzer also noted that this is the first time, at least that he could think of, that WWE has told an indie promotion not to use a particular indie wrestler.
Now, there's been plenty of times when an NXT UK star will be promoted on an indie show, and WWE will pull them to do their own thing.
Or
but this is the first time that like somebody who isn't signed with WWE said, you need to get them out of here.
Yeah, and of course, there have been times where maybe AEW and NXT talent or NXT UK talent have been on the same show, and they'll do something about that too. That they, either pull their talent or make sure that they're not working together or something like that.
There's been times when they've interfered with that. I mean, there's been some times when those matches just went straight up. Like the big one was what was it, like Pac versus I don't know. I thought there was one that was like, was it Zack Sabre Jr. versus? Never mind.
All right.
Never mind. Okay. Anyways. So, yeah, this is kind of weird, man, because essentially WWE is getting a guy fired from a promotion that he'd been working for a long time.
Yeah.
Starr tweeted this after the loss. He said, I won't go into further details regarding WXW on this platform, and I don't know when or if I will in any public setting. Like I said, freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences, and that this mutual decision was one that neither of us wanted to make. I love WXW and always will. WWE seems to have a problem with David Starr, and all honestly, kind of understandably so. Among other things, there's two big sort of things here with David Starr. Number one, he's vociferously anti-WWE, like big time. He wants to unionize. He really wants to try to unionize wrestlers.
Yeah.
Which is obviously an uphill battle.
In a contest against Walter, he stomped on the NXT UK title.
That's a biggie. Besides the other stuff, he stomped on a WWE title,
which apparently higher ups in WWE were not happy with.
Not happy with at all.
But at the same time, dude's out there trying to make a living.
Yeah,
and it's a bummer that this huge corporate monolith deemed him apparently unworthy to work for this particular promotion, which he has worked for a number of years.
It's a dangerous precedent.
Yes,
although one that isn't terribly surprising given how outspoken David Starr is.
Well, and it's also not surprising given how WWE is seemingly trying to enforce their will on the wrestling industry across the world.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I don't know anybody else really that is nearly as outspoken as David Starr. I mean, he takes every opportunity he can to bash WWE. And so, like he says in his tweet, freedom of speech does not mean, freedom from consequences. And so he understands. And I wonder if he's even surprised it took this long. He has an OTT match coming up against Jon Moxley of AEW fame. And OTT has a relationship with WWE. I'm not sure if it's one as entrenched as Progress.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I would really doubt it, given that Jon Moxley is going to show up at their promotion.
Yeah, I know.
But it is going to be, that's one thing Meltzer notes, and it's kind of obvious. It's going to be interesting to see if WWE does anything between now and then to try to influence OTT. I mean, it kind of, I would assume it just sort of depends how much, one thing Meltzer noted was the potential for some of these companies to have licensing deals with WWE. If they do add that tier to the network, which includes stuff like Progress, ICW, OTT, WXW. This is obviously a sort of a developing situation to see just how far they're going to go. But I mean, honestly, I honestly can't think of many other wrestlers who,
Alex C says OTT outright has zero relationship with WWE. They refuse the Progress style deal.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, thanks, Alex C.
Yes.
Didn't Jordan Devlin appear for OTT relatively recently?
Yeah.
I know they've had WWE
Maybe it's one of those
talent.
things where they're
not like a blacklisted promotion.
Yeah, where ICW Progress, they obviously have a very tight relationship with WWE in some capacity, whether it's the essentially signing the deed over or not, and then maybe there's promotions like OTT where there's a relationship, just not to the same extent as it is.
Well, it might be
Progress.
the kind of thing where WWE hasn't blacklisted them, and that might be the extent of the relationship. It could be, okay, well, WWE is allowing us to have wrestlers here, and it could be the kind of thing where WWE might try to step in and say, if you want this match to understand, if you pull off this match, you're not going to get any of our people again, and then OTT would have to make a decision. That's all purely speculation on our part. But it will be a...
Alex C says Devlin has a special thing in his contract to work with OTT.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what it'd be interesting to see what WWE could do. If they could, if they would try to pull any shenanigans or wag a finger. But I mean, good for OTT. Hopefully, they stay independent.
Same,
because you need more of that.
Yeah, you need a lot more of that.
Because you might get wrapped up in something like this. Stockholders are suing WWE. This is not shocking at all.
Yeah, no.
When your stock price tanks from $100 to like $40, people are going to want answers.
Yep.
And so, it looks like WWE is being taken to court because the City of Warren Police and Fire Retirement System has filed a lawsuit. What, man? I would be asking my retirement people, why are you investing in WWE? Come on.
I know.
That is not safe stock. Anyways, they filed a lawsuit in federal court, which alleges that, according to Forbes. So for some people who might not know out there, these retirement systems, the way they work is they invest money on your behalf.
They pool everybody's resources that are invested in this retirement fund. It's like, if you have a 401k or an IRA, an individual one, it's the same thing, except they just take everybody's money and toss it in there. And
usually they're supposed to be like super safe stocks.
Yeah, well, you like on mine, I have choices.
You have options. Yeah.
I can go risky.
Yeah.
It's like a high flying move, high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Or you go safe, where you get like a 1.5% annually,
mutual funds,
assuming the stock market doesn't tank like it kind of is now.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, so the lawsuit, according to Forbes, I actually read a lot of this over the weekend. Where I read the first 4 pages, like the summary or whatever.
Yeah.
WWE defrauded investors via its handling of their deals with the Saudi royal family, who also control OSN, the network that airs WWE programming in Saudi Arabia. Here's some of the juicy details, again, from Forbes. WWE failed to disclose that WWE was experiencing rising tension with the Saudi government and a breakdown in negotiations over a renewed broadcasting distribution deal. The Saudi government and its affiliates had failed to make millions of dollars in payments owed to WWE pursuant to existing contractual commitments between the parties. OSN had terminated the broadcast of WWE programming in the first quarter of 2019, despite a contractual obligation to continue such broadcasts, and that this cancellation was symptomatic of a deterioration in the business relationship between the parties. OSN had rebuffed the efforts to renew a distribution rights agreement on terms acceptable to WWE. And WWE did not have the ability to expand its operations in the Middle East or within Saudi Arabia as had been represented to the investors. There's a lot more there. They go into the hostage situation. They claim that it was a straight-up hostage situation, the airplane thing, under the guise of mechanical issues. Now, how they would have had this definitively as an answer, who knows? It might have been anecdotal. I don't know.
Yeah.
They might have been watching Going in Raw. I don't know.
Yeah, they could have been reading the dirt sheets too.
Yeah, exactly. They talk about that. They basically say they also mentioned the selling off of stock. I believe they called it gross violation of insider trading.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a pretty gnarly lawsuit that they're bringing here.
Wow.
So we'll see how that works out. Because losing 60% of your stock value.
Stock value is not good if you're looking to retire.
But honestly, dude, it goes into. I mean, look, we've often said the question has been, how long can the WWE, this house of cards that they have here, and we've talked about even as it pertains to trying to build new stars as opposed to trying to pop desperately ratings on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing to me that they've got this Ruthless Aggression documentary where Bruce Pritchard says, we knew we'd have to tank the ratings for a bit until these new stars are built up. They can't afford to do that now.
I mean, in the Ruthless Aggression era, they were, a pretty newly formed, publicly traded company. They've been around forever, obviously. But
as a publicly traded
company.
the
IPO was, in 98, 99?
Something
like that. So this is 3, 4, 5 years after that. Mm-hmm. Now, with I think Vince only owns like 35% of the company. Mm-hmm. He really does have to answer to his board, to his shareholders. Yeah. That might not have been quite as nearly the case 2 decades ago. Mm-hmm. Now look where we are.
Yeah. I mean, they literally can't afford it. It's like if the Saudi deal falls through, this is a 10-year deal. Yeah, that they still have 8 years on. If this falls apart, their stock price will tank. If the TV deals fall apart, their stock price will tank. They have so many things that are dependent on, honestly, quality. If they have, the bottom line is you need quality creative for people to come in and watch the show and be excited and want to see it. Mm-hmm. If you can't deliver the numbers,
people want to come see it.
No, it's gonna tank, and that's what's happening right now. And the only question is, where will it stop? How is it going to end up?
And how low will it go?
And at what point is Disney going to scoop up the company?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Forbes has an update here. This says WWE reached out with a statement saying, quote, although WWE has not been served, the company's outside counsel, Jerry McDevitt and K&L Gates, has reviewed the complaint, which is based on false and incorrect gossip from unnamed sources, and we will move to dismiss the case as it is meritless. Mm-hmm. That's what WWE had to say about it.
That is kind of interesting, though, says the only source alluded to in a particular section of the complaint is a Twitter thread from Brad Shepard.
Oh, gosh. Well.
Oh, man. Judge is going to throw that one out immediately.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we continue, here's a word from our sponsor, forhims.com. Larson.
What?
66% of men start losing their hair by the age of 35, and once you start noticing your hair up there leaving your business up there, it can be too late.
Yeah, and the best way to prevent more hair loss is do something about it while you still got some hair on top of that head of yours. With forhims.com, you can be the best version of yourself with licensed doctors and FDA-approved products to help treat your hair loss. We're talking prescription solutions backed by science.
Science. Hims was created by a dude who knew that some men's health conversations are easier had online rather than in person. So with Hims, you don't have to stress about awkward in-person doctor's visits or long wait times at the pharmacy.
Forhims.com connects you with real doctors. All you got to do is answer a few questions. A doctor will review your responses, and if they determine it's right for you, can prescribe you medication to treat your hair loss. It's sent to your door. It's completely confidential and totally discreet.
And right now, our listeners can get started with their first month free. Go to forhims.com/GIR. That's forhims.com/GIR. Prescription requires an online consultation with a physician who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Offer valid only if prescribed. 3-month minimum subscription. Additional restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Remember, that's forhims.com/GIR.
So there was a scary situation this past weekend with Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, the big bad booty daddy Freakzilla himself.
Yeah.
Might have had a bum ticker. Larson, what happened?
So late on Friday, after we adjourned for the evening following our SmackDown recap, Sean Ross Sapp tweeted, quote, things are looking rough for Scott Steiner. He was rushed to the hospital after collapsing while Impact doing pre-tapes. Shortly thereafter, Impact boss man Scott D'Amore tweeted, quote, for all concerned parties, Scott Steiner is okay. His family is grateful for everybody's concern and support. Pro Wrestling Sheet added, quote, sources tell us that the 57-year-old wrestler was worked on by paramedics on scene after collapsing at the tapings and eventually taken to the emergency room. PW Insider reported that he was undergoing a heart procedure on Saturday, and they say, quote, Steiner remains hospitalized in stable condition in Atlanta after collapsing backstage during an Impact taping with what is believed to have been a cardiac episode.
Yeah.
We are told that EMTs immediately treated Steiner, and he was lucky he was so close to paramedics when he collapsed. Steiner was rushed to the hospital with several Impact officials and talents remaining overnight with him. We know Tommy Dreamer was
nice.
there.
Yeah.
He tweeted about it, saying he was in the hospital. Steiner's wife tweeted saying, first of all, I want to thank everyone Impact Wrestling for taking such great care of my husband. She lists Scott D'Amore, Tommy Dreamer, Johnny Swinger, and Joey Ryan. And she says, I appreciate all the well wishes, thoughts, and prayers. He'll make 100% recovery.
Are we sure it's just going to be 100% or is it going to be 166%?
You have to get some Steiner math in there, don't you?
Got a 33% chance of getting out of this, but then you had my 66% chance of whatever. So that's good. That's good.
Scary situation.
Nobody
but it
wants to see
sounds
Scott
like
Steiner
he's stable.
Yeah. Well, his body
Physically stable.
Physically
Yes, that's what I
speaking.
meant. And I guess it was fortuitous that if he did have some sort of heart issue,
Oh, for sure.
that paramedics were nearby and could attend to him as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, man. We have got a beefy Raw preview.
You got
Larson,
that right,
why
buddy.
don't you go ahead with the Raw preview?
Edge is coming back to Raw. That's all they have listed on
That's it.
WWE.com.
That's all they have.
That's all they have.
That's all they have.
The night after what is supposed to be the last pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania, setting up all the major storylines, going through the top show of the year, and they got one thing on the Raw preview.
Oh, really? Do you need?
They
anything
have
else
more,
besides
just as many
that?
items to promote for next week's Raw that they have for this week's Raw.
Yeah, well, we're on the road to WrestleMania. Look at Sami Zayn. He's great.
Oh, that head of hair is fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. Anyways, our audio version of today's show will include our mailbag section. So
Correct.
be sure to hit up iTunes, Castbox, or Spotify, whatever.
Wherever you listen to your podcast.
Wherever you listen to your podcast, be
We're
sure to
there.
hit that up. And you can listen to us answer your questions on Twitter. Let's try to get this one up to 508 likes.
Sure.
How about that? All right, good.
I'm not sure if we're going up and down or down with these likes.
I'm going like one like at a time.
All right.
Pretty much. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.